Hi, this is Chris from Chris Loves Crochet and Crochet Recreations, and I just ran across something that I was trying to recreate I think a couple of years ago, and I put it aside and it became a UFO, and I had forgotten about it. So I thought maybe we could do this together. Now in something that I ordered, I don't even remember what it was, but it came with this really cute little bag, and this bag has been through the ringer, looks like. But this really cute little bag, and what's really cute about it, well, the whole thing's cute, but look at this down here. When I first opened it up, I thought, what the heck is this? But if you take this bag and you roll it all up, it fits into its own corner. Do this, fits into its own corner, and then it has a drawstring on it, and it has a little locking drawstring, and it's a little strawberry. Look at how cute that is. It's just a little strawberry, and so it's a little bag that you can carry around without it being a big giant bag. So it's a strawberry, and then when you run into the store or whatever, I use it as a whip bag, but you just pull it out and you've got this bag. And so I thought, gosh, I bet I could do that in crochet. So I tried a couple of different ways. Now this is a couple of years ago, and so I was just beginning, and it was a big undertaking for me at the time. So let me show you how I started. I started with a cute strawberry. Isn't he cute? He's a cute strawberry. But what I did was, let me untie this. What I did was I didn't use any, I used all cotton yarn. This was my first attempt, was using all cotton yarn, and I couldn't figure out how to square it off, and it's a little tiny bag, and it's cotton, so it doesn't stretch at all, and this was pretty thick for a market bag. It still would work, you know. It's a little bag. You can go in and grab a couple of things, and then it does roll up back in there. But the strawberry doesn't stretch, so the handle doesn't really fit, which is fine because you can use the handle as the handle for the strawberry if you want. So it's kind of hard, see, to get it back in there. And then what to do here, I don't know. So, and you tie it, and you have your little strawberry. It's not quite as cute, it's not quite as small, and whatever. So here's a little strawberry you can carry around a bag in. So then I thought, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get clever and get something that stretches. So I got some red and some green. I got the green first, so I thought a kiwi. I don't even know what kiwis, they don't have something like a strawberry, like a little flower at the end, so I don't know what I was thinking. But so I went to thread. So I used thread to make the bag, and I tried to make it more of the same shape, and create a bag and put it down in the corner, just like the original. Put it down in the corner, and I just couldn't make it look pretty. It does fit down in here pretty well, and this is elastic yarn, so the whole thing fits down in there. And then you can pull it up, and it works really well. And you can carry it around, and I don't know, I call it a kiwi. And you can use it as a bag. And pull it out, open this up, pull it out, and you got a little market bag. It's just kind of deformed. But once it gets filled with stuff. And the other problem is this is down here at the corner, at the bottom, and so you get an apple or something down in there, and it's going to stretch and stretch and stretch, and the rest of it doesn't stretch. So I was thinking about when I found it, I thought, okay, so how can I do this? Let's take all of these issues that I've had and consider them all. So I think the thread's a good idea. So I had the thread. This is an Aunt Lydia fashion crochet thread, fashion number 3, because I don't think that the fashion 10 size would make a great market bag because it's a little thin. So it is a fashion 3, but I'm going to use this neutral color. And then I still have this elastic yarn, the green and the red. And what it is, I cannot remember how much it cost, but it's Cascade yarn, and it's called Fixation, and it is 98.3% cotton and 17% spandex. Fixation. And it comes as 100 yards, 50 grams, and they recommend 3.75 to a 5.5 millimeter hook, just depending, I guess, on, I assume that's hooks. It may be needles. I don't know. Depending upon what you're going to make with it. And you can machine wash and then lay flat to dry. Cascade yarns. So, and this is what it looks like when it comes. So I still have my clock. I forgot to turn it off. So I still have one of these reds left. I think I got 2 reds and a green, and I used the green to make this, what I'm calling a kiwi. But I have enough green to make the flower around the top of the strawberry. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to make a market bag square, but instead of making it all going around and around and around, what I'm going to do is make it open, and so that it's going to be a long rectangle that's going to be, let's see if I have my good old tape measure. Yes, I do. I think this is a pretty good size. You can't make it too big, or once you start stuffing it into the strawberry, then we run into some trouble. So I'm going to make it about this size, maybe accidentally a little bit bigger. I don't know, but this size, it's 9.5. Let's say it's 10 inches across. It's a little bit less than 10 inches across. So 10 by 10. Doesn't look like a square. Anyway, so it's 10 by 10. So what I'm going to do is to make a rectangle of 20 so that it'll go around. I can fold it over and it'll be 10 inches across and 10 inches high. So it'll be 20 inches wide rectangle and 10-inch high rectangle, and then fold it over. And then instead of doing a corner, what I'm going to do, and the reason why I'm going to fold it over, is I'm going to put this strawberry though up on the side. On the bottom, since it's a rectangle, I'll probably do a few rows of single crochet, so that then when I fold it over, then I'll have like 6 rows total on the bottom. If we opened it up, like 6 rows on the bottom of single crochet, just to give it some more strength, and the rest of it treble, chain 1, treble. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'll show you when I'm finished with it. But that was my idea. That was my thought, and I think they're so cute. So let's hope that it works this time. Also, what you're going to need, I already showed you the measuring tape. You're going to need a 3.5 millimeter hook. That's what I'm going to start with and see what happens with this and the thread. I think that 3.5, I just got it stuck in there. I think that a 3.5 will be good for the market bag for the trebles, and then also 3.5 for the strawberry with the Fixation elastic yarn. Did I show you this? Look, it's amazing. It's amazing. So when I look at it again, I may be down here on the bottom, but then I was just now thinking, what if we put the strawberry up here? And that way there's no chance of things down on the bottom, the heavy things in the bottom getting into the side. We could just put the strawberry right here and it's just kind of hanging off the side of the bag, and then you push it down in there. And anyway, you know what I'm talking about. So 3.5 millimeter hook, Aunt Lydia's size 3 crochet thread, fixation. It doesn't even give it a size to the yarn, I don't think. No, it doesn't give me a size for the yarn, but it looks like, well, it depends on if it's pulled out, stretched out or not. When it's not stretched out, it looks like about a light 4 or a 3, but you stretch it out and it looks like a 1. So anyway, I'm going to use that with the 3.5 to make the strawberry, and then find some white to make some flecks in it, but got to be careful doing the flecks so that it doesn't keep it from stretching. I'll have to think about that and tell you what I figure out. Okay, 3.5. All right, so I finished the bag portion, and what I have about a 10 by 10, and which means that I did 20 inches across. So I chained 101, and then started in the second chain from the hook and did single crochet, and so that gave me 100 stitches across, and did three rows of single crochet. And then I did trebles, treble chain 1, treble chain 1. And whenever you start a row, you start a row by chaining up 4, about the height of a treble crochet. Chain up 4 and then go right into the first stitch here, or up here into the first chain. Do a treble, chain 1, skip that treble, and then just do the treble, next treble in the next chain 1, treble, and a chain 1. So that way it's offset each time, and you don't have to worry about crocheting in stitches. And as you're using the bag and it's stretching like this, you're not stretching out stitches. You're actually, the stitches are hooked to the chains. So it's a little bit more sturdy if you do the alternate as well. And what I'm going to do is, I haven't fastened off yet, because I'm just going to take this and connect it with a single crochet down the edges, because they're just these long chains and trebles. Single crochet down the edge, and then down here at the bottom just do a slip stitch across the bottom, and then we'll turn it right side out and it'll all be contained. So I'm going to leave that attached so that I can do that. But the next step is to start with the strawberry. And what we're going to do is start with a magic circle, and then I have some leftover from wrapped around the end there. We're going to start with a magic circle, and then 6 single crochets. So I don't understand how anybody does a magic circle. I just know that when I do this, I have a magic circle. It cross it over there, have this little loop, and then when you start crocheting, you make sure that you're at the working end and not at the tail end. You're at the working end, that you pull the working end up, and then you have your working yarn and you pull it through the loop, and then you've kind of attached your magic circle into a circle. So then we go over the tail as we go around as you crochet, so that you can pull this tail and it magically disappears, the circle. I don't think that's proper, but whatever. So I'm going to do 6 single crochets, and with this elastic yarn, it's really it's kind of funky to work with, but you don't want to pull it too. You want to keep a loose grip on it, so that it has some elasticity to go from its original form. So we want to shape it in its relaxed form. If that makes sense. Now I've lost count. Okay, and it's hard to see. 1, 2, because the first thing we did was just a slip stitch, so that doesn't count. So then we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 single crochets. Now, so you take the tail here, you hang on to your single crochets, you take your tail and you pull it, and boom, you have no circle left. It's all pulled together. And what the trick in creating a strawberry shape as opposed to a flat circle, we use the same idea, the same rules of making a flat circle, but we want our strawberry, look at the yarn right there, to start down here at the tip of the strawberry and then continue to come up as a V and not be flat, right? So so we want it to curve up. So what we do is just skip the round, the second round that we usually have of double crocheting, or not double, of single crocheting 2 in each of the single crochets. We're going to go on to the next row, which is usually the third row of making a circle, and do 1 single crochet and then 2 single crochet in the next, and then 1 and then 2 and then 1 and then 2, and then you just follow the same pattern all the way up. So we'll start from here. Oh, and what I want to do, I don't have any. What I want to do is to cut a piece of yarn to use, excuse me, to use as a marker on my way up the strawberry. I'm just reaching over at some other yarn that I've been using. See if I can get a little piece. This might be too thick of yarn, but anyway, it'll work. So so for our second row, this is going to just mark our second row. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this contrasting yarn and I'm going to slip it through my very first single crochet so that I can count that as a row, so that I'll remember that that is a row. That's the first row. Round, count it as a round. And we've already pulled that, so we're just going to let that tail hang down. We're going to put this contrasting yarn over the working yarn before we work into, sorry, it's a mess, before we work into this marked stitch here. So, wait, that's not right. Sorry. Pull it over to the front because this is sticking out here. So we want to pull it over to the front, over the working yarn, go into that first stitch, do a single crochet, and then in the next stitch we're going to do 2 single crochets. 1, 2. The next one we do 1. The next one we do 2. 1, 2. And then we do, it's already folding in, then we do 1. And you should have 1 stitch left where you do 2 single crochet. Now we're not going to slip stitch, we're going to just go in spirals like we started it. So we've got the tip of the strawberry down here. The inside is where the tail is. So I'm just going to leave that there for now. And then we start on the next one, and the next one, instead of 1 and then 2, 1 single crochet and then 2 in 1 stitch, we do 2 single crochets and then 2 in 1 stitch. So we bring this yarn back over the working yarn, and go into the marked stitch, and we do 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet there, and we do a second single crochet in the second stitch. So we do 2 single crochets in 2 stitches, and then we get to the one where we double up. So here we do 2 stitches in 1. Now, because we started with 6 single crochets and we skipped the doubling of the 6, and we only did the 1 and then 2 and then 1 and then 2 and then 1 and then 2, we were only able to increase 3 times. So now, instead of increasing, typically we increase the number of the original round, 6. Each time would increase 6, and that would give us a flat circle. But now we're increasing by 3, and that's going to give us a gradual increase for our strawberry. So we do, each time the pattern, we do the pattern 3 times. So you may or may not, it depends on how much you like to count when you're working. I don't like to count at all, except for maybe to 3 when I'm crocheting. So I use this to let me know that I've finished the round. But you do the pattern 3 times. So we just did it once, and now we do 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and then 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and then 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, and then 2 single crochets, and that should be our last stitch before we get to our marker here, which we then draw over the top. And then instead of 2 individual single crochets, we're going to do 3, and then 2 single crochets in 1 stitch. So we've got 1, 2, and then 3, and then we do 2 in this 1 stitch. So there's our increase, and then we do 1, 2, 3, and then we do our increase. 1, a knot in my yarn, 2, and one more time, 1, 2, 3, and then we have 1 stitch left where we do our increase. I think a lot of people do the increases at the beginning of the pattern. I like to do it at the end of the pattern, because that way I know if I get to the last stitch and I'm not at the end of the pattern, like it requires 2 stitches there, then I've missed something, and I know that right away. And so I always start with the single ones and then do the doubles. I don't know how other people do it, if there's a reason why it's better to do it the other way. If there is, please put it in the comments below and educate me, because this is the way I know when I have reached the end of the round correctly, is that I'm at the stitch that requires the 2 stitches. So we could just continue with that pattern, with that algorithm of creating a circle, but because we skipped the second typical row of double in each one, we're going to have an increasing piece that goes like this. And we're not doing amigurumi, so our finished strawberry, before we put the bag in it, is just going to be a triangle. We don't need to worry about decreases in order to make it into this pretty little strawberry, because the decrease is going to happen when we pull and we cinch it closed with the bag inside. So all we're doing is increasing outward. And what we're going to do is continue to increase outward until we have, as a multiple of 3, it's going to be like 51. So since we're increasing 3 each time around, it would be about 17 or 18 rows total. And it doesn't matter if you get exactly 48 or 51 or 54, 17 or 18 rows at about that point, then stop increasing and we'll see where we are, and we'll see how many just straight stitches, straight rows, rounds. I keep saying rows. How many straight rounds we want to do. Probably, you know, probably 3 to 5. Just straight rounds, just to give it a little bit more height. And then we'll figure out how we attach it. I have an idea, but I think will work nicely to attach the strawberry to the top of the bag. And it'll be cute. Okay, so work on your strawberry. And I think what I'm going to do for the seeds is to use this same thread. No use going finding something else, because the seeds aren't exactly perfectly white, right? So I'm going to use this thread, and what I'm going to do is turn somehow stitch from one stitch to another with a, I'm going to put this on a tapestry needle, and stitch from, I'm going to go in from the back, from the inside, and then back down on the outside across one stitch. So come out one hole, go in the next hole, and then maybe do 2 or 3 like in a pattern area, and then cut it and then tie it in a knot, and then go to the next one, next few, and do a few. Because if we have all of these all the way around our strawberry, making all of those nice little seeds, and it's all connected, this thread doesn't stretch. So we'll have all of this nice elastic yarn that won't stretch because the seeds are all connected. So we can't connect the seeds. So just a thought, if you get there before I do. If you just pause and just keep going because you're away from your computer. Okay, so work on your strawberry. Be back. Here's my strawberry. And I wanted to mention a little trick that I use when I use a contrasting yarn as a stitch marker, as opposed to a little stitch marker. I had one right here, as opposed to a little stitch marker that you move up every time. It does the counting for you, and so you know what row you're on. Now when you're doing a flat circle, and the rules are you start with your 6 or 12 or whatever stitches around, and then the second round is 2 in each stitch, and then the third round is 1 and then 2 and then 1 and then 2. Each pattern has the number of stitches in it that the row you're on, and you've probably noticed this, but just in case you hadn't. So the first row, since this was a 6, if we did a flat circle, if we did the first row 6, and then the second row, there'd be 2 in each pattern, so it's 2, 2, 2. And then the third row, there's 3 in each pattern, so it's 1, 2, 1, 2. And then the fourth row, there's 4 in each pattern, so it's 1, 2, and then 3 and 4 in the one stitch. So so in doing that, that's what it tells you. But with doing this, this stitch, since we skipped the second row, the row that we're on is 1 less than the number of stitches that are in our pattern, because the first stitch has 1 in each one, because it's 6. And then the second round, we went straight to the where's my clock? The second stitch, we went straight to the 1, 2, 3, the 1 and then 2 and then 1 and then 2. So second stitch, there's three stitches in the pattern. Third stitch, there's 4 stitches in the pattern. So if you go all the way up, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 rounds of increases, and my last increase round had, since it's the 16th round, it had 17 stitches, which means you do 15 individual single crochet and then 2 in one stitch. Got it? So the 16th round had 17 stitches, and we did the pattern 3 times. So 17 times 3, I don't know. 17 times 3 is 30, 40, 51. So I had 51 stitches around. This was just me in with my tension and the yarn and the hook that I used. I used a 3.5. and this elastic fixation from Cascade. So then after that, I checked my bag to see if it would fit. It didn't fit, so I needed to have a few more rows. I didn't want to make it any wider because I knew it was going to stretch, so I made 5 more rounds of 51 stitches. So now I'm stopping here where it goes up to here, because then when we cinch, it's going to close, and I'm going to have a little green flower thing up here at the top. So that'll be our little bag of bag. Also, so I finished that. Also, what I did with the bag, I told you I was going to single crochet down this edge, because it's all chains and treble crochets. It's really hard to stitch in the stitch to do anything other than a single crochet, and I just single crocheted 4 in each one of the spaces with the treble, and then skipped over the stitch and then just did 4 in each one, and that gave me a nice clean, even, not puckered connection or closure right here. And then on the bottom here, so I came down here, and then on the bottom in the corner I did a few stitches to turn the corner, and then I did a slip stitch across in each one of the chains. And so since I had done my first row of single crochets in the back hump, it gave me a good two hoops on each one of the each side to do a slip stitch through. So this is the inside of the bag, because that's where the stitches are. So then you flip it around, and we have our completed bag. So the single crochets are inside. Oops, sorry. Single crochets are inside, so it just looks kind of finished off, roped. And then our slip stitches are inside, so it gives us this 6 single crochet rows here of single crochets to give it more of a little bit more of a sturdy bottom. You can do more of that on the bottom if you want. I'm just so anxious to get things done that I don't like to do a lot of single crocheting. So what I did up here on the top was just counted in 6 spaces, and then did a chain of 40, and then attached over here at the 6th space in, and then went back around with 50 single crochets around the chain to give myself a little bit of a handle. You could do more of a handle, you could attach your own handle. This is what I did, and it's going to be small enough. I didn't want to make a big giant soft handle because it needs to fit inside the strawberry. So I did it on both sides, so it's big enough to hang on my arm and throw things in at the store. So there you go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take this out, my stitch marker contrasting yarn, and I didn't sew in this tail because I'm going to sew over it with the green scallops that's going to make the flower on the outside. What I'm going to do now is to try to do the seeds. So I'm just going to pull off a lot. I'm almost done with this this ball of thread, but it wasn't a full one when I started, so you'll probably have more left over than I do. So I'm pulling off, I don't know, a few feet, because I'm going to cut and keep going and cut and keep going. So I have my yarn. I'm going to thread it in my tapestry needle, and then I'm going to, I think I'm going to try to flip it around and work from the inside. That way I'll have where the knots are. And so all of the stitches, see the holes, when you pull it apart, the holes are where the stitches are. And so we want to go diagonally or horizontally or vertically or whatever for the little seeds to show up on the other side. So I'm just going to start down here. I'm going to grab a hole, go in and come up a hole diagonal from it and pull it through and leave a tail so that I can tie a knot. So I'm going to do a few of these. So I'm going to skip over and go in and go out, and that's a horizontal one. Get that tail out. And then do a vertical one down in one hole, up the next hole in whichever direction you're going. So now I'm going to cut right here, give it a little more space, and I'm going to tie a knot on this side. And don't pull it tight because we need this, we need as much room in our bag as we can. So we just pull it taut, I guess. Pull it so that there's not any extra, but just make a knot. And if we flip it back over, then you see you've got some seeds on your strawberry. And the more you do that, the more it looks more and more like a strawberry. So I'm going to finish doing the seeds like that and just do like 3 at a time in different spots and try to get it as even as I can. And then cut those knots down. We can probably, as long as it's tied, then we can cut these extra strings down. Not that it matters a whole lot, but we don't need a lot of extra stuff in there keeping space. So just cut that down. So I'm going to do that. This is on the inside, and I'm just going to go in and out and in and out and in and out a few times and then tie a knot so that the area between it can still stretch in order to fit my bag. So here are my seeds on my strawberry. On the inside you see all the knots and everything, but thankfully nobody else will see that. And so with the seeds, it looks more like a strawberry, I think. So that's up to you if you want to add those or not. But I like the seeds on the strawberry. And so then I started with the flower on the top. And what I did was double crochet 1 round across around, and so it's about 51 stitches probably. And this is where I'm gonna weave in and out the tie, the cinch that I will make out of the string so that it's something that doesn't stretch. So I made that 1 round of just double crochet, and now I'm going to do just some scallops to make the flower, so that when it's all cinched up, it'll look like a flower. Now, it's not absolutely necessary. I think it'd be helpful if the green is also the fixation elastic yarn, just because it's going to be stretched so much. Or you could do the double crochet in the red in order to have something to easily thread through the cinch tie, and then just use a regular green for the scallops, maybe. I don't know. So I've done the one, so I'm going to chain 1 and then do a single crochet, and then I'm going to skip 2 and I'm going to do 5 double crochets in the next stitch. 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I skip 2 and I do a single crochet, and then I skip 2 and then I do 5 double crochets. Oops, 1, 2, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, skip 2, do a single crochet, And you can do that all the way around. And you'll probably, since I didn't count, I don't know that I know I don't have the right number of stitches, so we'll just fudge at the end with the scallops. And then I'll show you with the cinch what it ends up looking like. So finish up your scallops. So I finished the scallops all the way around, and then I just took the string and just did a chain, and I did a chain of 75 so that it would loosely fit all the way around plus a little more, because you want there to be enough to tie and you want there to be enough to stretch with. So after I put in the cinch tie, oh, I had the word for it. Anyway, the closure thing. Then pull it, then stretch it out and make sure that there's enough there. And then I just tied it in a knot and cut it. So it's not a big deal. So then when we cinch it up, it looks like a strawberry. And we have a little handle to carry it into the store. But there's no bag in there yet. Oh no, what to do, what to do. All right, so I've threaded up my needle with some green yarn, the stretchy yarn, and I put a slip knot at the end. I just used a hook and just made a little slip knot, which I always do when I'm sewing, so that I can make a knot at the very beginning. Now, in order to put this on the side here and for it to fit inside, if we stitch it just straight like that, then as you can see, then we would put it in and we would lose the flower. So in order to stitch it, we're going to need to fold down and stitch it inside the strawberry. So you make sure, I don't know that it really matters, but I'm going to have where the drawstring knot is going to be the front of the strawberry. So I'm going to put it together with where the two handles. Here's the side where it is stitched together, and the two handles, I'm going to put it between the two handles. I'm going to fold this down, and what I'm going to do is use the loops, use the chain ones here, not the loops, the chain ones in between the handles, and just do a whip stitch and whip stitch it onto the green double crochet that the drawstring is on. So I think, no, I'm not. I'm going to do it on the red that the green double crochet is on. So making sure not to get any of the drawstring in this whip stitch, or you're going to really mess it up. So I'm just going to try to find like 2 loops of that double crochet. It doesn't have to be really strong, because this is just when it's just dangling when you're shopping, so it's okay. So pull through and then get to the slip knot, put your needle through, pull your yarn through the slip knot, and then pull that tight, and then just keep pulling until that slip knot tightens down and it gives you a good solid knot. I'm going to go one more time around that stitch, and then I'm just going to whip stitch around 1, maybe 2 in each of the chain ones of the side of the bag. Why am I doing this on the red? Pull it tight, but not too tight, because remember, it stretches, so we don't want it to stretch and just hang. So we want to pull it kind of tight. Maybe pulling this. make sure and put 2 in a chain 1 here and there so that we don't end up cinching up the strawberry. So I'm just going right in the same stitch that the double crochet did, just kind of following along where the double crochet is attached, or the green double crochet is attached to the red single crochet. Until I get over to this next handle. And then on the last one, I'm going to send it through twice just to make sure it stays nice and secure. And then I'm going to make a knot around these 2 stitches. Just take my needle below them, pull almost all the way through. So I've got a little loop left. Get my thumb in there. Needle through the loop, pull all the yarn through, keep a little bit of tension on that loop as you're drawing it in so it doesn't knot too early. Pull it tight, still knotted too early. So I'll do one more around the knot, a knot on a knot. Here we go. And that's going to be pretty secure, I think. I've got 2 knots on that, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it. It's on the inside. And this one too, it's a pretty good knot. And there's not going to be a lot of pulling on it, so I'm just going to cut it. Look at that. So now we have our little strawberry that hangs kind of wobbly, but it hangs off the side. Now it's pretty good. So we have this open, we have an open bag, we have our little strawberry here. Maybe you could put your keys in there even. Look, put your keys in there while you're shopping. So we have this little strawberry on the side, and we walk around and we shop and we shop and we shop. And I probably didn't even show you how to do that. Anyway. And then we're done, we get home, we take our stuff out, and then we push this all the way through in. We stuff that bag into the strawberry. And grab the drawstring, pull that drawstring. You don't even need to tie the drawstring, it pretty much stays closed in this nice grippy yarn. But if you have one of those locking things, you can put it on the end there. But then there's something, oh, it's a funny looking strawberry down there. Anyway, there's a strawberry, and you can carry it around on your wrist. You can make a few of these and carry them around, and they'll fit in your glove box, and you'll know what they are, and you just grab them and you walk into the store and you say, oh, I think I'll shop some. So you take out your bag, leave your cute little strawberry on the outside. Where am I going to put my keys? I'll put them right there. And then you walk around and you pick up some things, and then you do it all over again. And you use it over and over and over. How cute is that? Cute, cute, cute. Go to a festival, you don't need a purse yet, you don't need a bag, you haven't bought anything. You leave it in the strawberry around your wrist because it's so cute. And then you buy some festival goodies and you have to open it up and put your things in here. It's fantastic. I'm so excited about it. Anyway, thank you for your time. Let's put this in here. I hope you'll try one of your own. If you can find some stretchy, something with some spandex that gives it some good stretch. And make yourself a bag, market bag out of the thread. Make yourself strawberry out of the elastic yarn. And a little green flower on the top. And then you have a little strawberry bag holder. A bag in a bag. Thank you for your time, and you always have a choice, so please choose happy like a strawberry. Thanks. See you next time. Bye. Oh, and be sure to subscribe below. And if you like this, go ahead and hit the thumbs up, the like thumbs up on it, and subscribe and hit the bell, and then you'll know whenever I send out publish a new video. And anyway, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.